Hey Westside, this is Pastor Ralph, and it's Monday morning, and I have the privilege of being able to kick off this week's meditations on self-control. And I want to end this study of the fruit on the Spirit and kick off the discussion of self-control by actually reading to you again Ephesians 5 and the promise of the fruit of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. This is what the Spirit produces in us. All of these characteristics, all of these virtues, and even more. This last virtue, self-control, it's surprising in a number of ways. Enkratia is the word in Greek. It has the idea of discipline, of self-mastery, of having the power over yourself. One of the things that's surprising about this word is how infrequently it appears throughout the entire Bible. You won't find it in the Greek translation of the Old Testament at all. And it only occurs 10 times in the New Testament. And a book about discipleship, where 293 occurrences of the word disciple occurs, the fact that the word for discipline only occurs 10 times is quite surprising until you remember grace. You see, self-control was something that was completely esteemed by the Greeks. This was one of the chief virtues all through the moralist writings, going back to Socrates and moving through Plato and Aristotle. Here was something that everybody agreed. It is hard for humans to restrain unwanted desires, and we often end up tripping over ourselves and often cause some of our greatest problems. And so everybody looked at it and they said, okay, so why is it, and this should sound familiar, this is the language of Paul, why is it that we sometimes do what we don't want to do? Because the good that we want to do, we fail to do. The problem of Romans 6. Well, for the Greeks, it was self-control. If you can get to a place of such power and control over yourself, well, then you won't have those problems anymore. And so it became that central pursuit of mastery of self. But in the New Testament, through the whole Bible, this is never the story about how we rise up and we find the power within ourselves. And so we're told about the grace that comes to us, the fruit of the Holy Spirit. He produces love. He produces joy, patience, kindness, gentleness, goodness. And in the end, what the promise is that we will finally have power over ourselves. But the power doesn't come from ourselves. It is all of grace. So as we kick off this week of self-control, what we're reminded of is to look to God, to have the power so that we can live the life that He's called us to live. So let me ask you a question today. What are you trying to do in your own power? How are you trying to master your life by yourself and not through God's strength, not through God's help? Examine. It is the human tendency. And if you can find something as you reflect today about maybe some challenge, maybe some relationship issue, maybe some problem that you yourself have just been trying to do on your own, why don't you find the ability for that control over the problem, not beginning with yourself, but turning it to God, and then allowing Him to bring you the strength that you need to get through this day and this life. God bless you.